Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back. I hope you're having a positive and productive day so far. My name is Kel with the Planner Owl, and today I'm walking through the setup of my brand new budget planner and sharing a few tips and tricks that I use to help me stay on track with my finances and minimize overspending. Before I hop in, I want to give a quick shout out to Felicia for suggesting this video. She had a great question around tools that I use to stay on track with my budget, and I'll touch on that towards the end of this video. If you have any topics that you want to learn more about or anything that you'd like for me to cover, make sure to let me know in the description. As always, I will be including links to the products I use down below, and please leave me a comment with any questions or topics you'd like for me to include in my next video. Without further ado, let's hop in. So if you watched my previous budget videos, you know that I've always kept my budget overview and expense tracker in my main agenda, so I'm able to track my expenses throughout the week. But over the years, I realized that I really don't reference my budget section all that much, and 9 times out of 10, any updates that I made were when I was at home. So in order to free up some extra space in my everyday carry, I decided to move my budget section to its own dedicated planner and use the extra space in my main agenda to expand my content section, which I'll cover in a separate video. That way, I don't have to worry about my main agenda getting too bulky. So the agenda I purchased to use as my budget planner is from Mall Paper on Etsy. It comes in several colors, but I purchased the sage green. This is A5 size and has 20mm gold rings and a magnetic strap closure. The outside is very simple. There's no hardware or anything. And then on the back, you have Mall Paper at the bottom in the same gold color as your rings. So opening it up, on the left-hand side, you have 7 credit card pockets and 1 larger slip pocket. And then on the right-hand side, you have another full-length slip pocket and then 1 pen loop. And then in the center of your rings, you have happier, calmer, clearer etched in the center. So one of my favorite things about this planner is the ring size. I really wanted an agenda that didn't have super large rings that would look really bulky. This one has 20mm rings, which is the perfect size for me to house my overviews and trackers, as well as the monthly divider set that I wanted to use. I also like the pocket configuration. It has enough pockets here to hold cards and accessories without having a bunch of unnecessary pockets that I just don't use. So I'm gonna put everything in here, speed through the build, and then once everything's inside, I'll walk through my setup.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry.
Starting at the front, in my front pockets, I have 2 journaling cards and 2 sticky notes. Both of these cards are from Cloth and Paper. The tall one here is mainly for decor to add a little height to the left side since I'm not filling up each pocket. And then I really just like the message on this one, so I stuck it here in the front. The 2 sticky notes are from Cloth and Paper as well. I have a few of these square ones on this hard plastic card so I can refill them when I need to. And then these drop sticky notes are part of their shape sticky note set. And similarly, I just tear a couple stickies off and throw them in here. So these I use to write little memos under my sinking funds and my budget overview. And the regular sticky notes I'll use in my inbox or other areas throughout my agenda where I need to take notes. In the slip pocket here, I just have a decorative card as background to break up the color, and then a planner card by Gracie Edits that says, "Growth is uncomfortable because you've never been here before." Such a great motivator to have in the front here. And then you move to my rings. So this cover I created myself and I just laminated it. I'm playing around with cover pages for my budget and search for 2025. I may or may not use this one, but once I do land on a design I like, I'll link those in my freebies library if you want to download it. So on the front is my favorite quote by Maya Angelou, and then Budget Planner 2024, and then on the back is a comprehensive list of all of my bills, the category broken out by those that are auto drafted, those I have to pay, and debt, the date it's due, and the amount. Next is my inbox, and this one is an old one from Cloth and Paper. This is where I put little reminders and things like if a bill is increasing in price or if I need to jot down a confirmation number, if I'm paying a bill or something. Behind that, I have this Don't Settle dashboard, also from Cloth and Paper, and then you move into the guts of my planner. So I decided to use these monthly dividers in this planner just to make it easier when I'm flipping through months. These are the glass plastic top tab monthlies from Cloth and Paper. I'm not a huge fan of these. They're super thick and the glass plastic scratches really easily, but I purchased these a long time ago and I never used them. I figured since I wanted monthly dividers and these were just sitting around, I would use these instead of buying more, but at some point I do plan to replace these with thinner ones. So next you move into my budget overview. Each month has a cover page with a quote at the bottom, and then flipping over, you have my sinking fund list and then a section for notes below that. The next page is where you track your income, fixed expenses, and debt, and then flipping over, you have a space to list your variable expenses, savings tracker, and then a spot at the bottom to list your totals and rate how well you met your budget goal for the month. So I have one of these for each month. About 2 weeks before the new month, I'll fill in my categories in Adobe in case I need to add or remove something, and then I'll print it out and put them in here. The next section is where I log my expenses. These are the same glass plastic dividers, but the side tab version. These came in a pack of 6, but I only needed the top 2. They are blank, so I just printed my own labels here. I've been using this label maker forever. It comes with a standard white tape, but I purchased the clear so it blends in better with my agenda. If you're looking for a good label maker, I highly recommend this one. So flipping over, you move into my expense log sheets. This is the expense log cover from Cloth and Paper's first edition financial bundle. Their bundles didn't work for me, but I really liked the quote here on the front, so I just took some matte adhesive, cut it down to A5 size, covered the text on the back, and decided to use it as a key for my color coding system in my tracker. I do have a video on how to cover unwanted text on inserts. If that's something that you're interested in, I'll link that video below. So my key changes each year depending on what I'm tracking for the month. The top 5 will likely stay the same as these are more so allocating how to code each expense, whereas these down here will change based on areas that I want to either monitor or cut back on for the year. So I have 3 dot stickers that I use to mark if an expense is reimbursable. So this is mainly work things or other things that I can include in my expense reports. Cash and checks are for anything that I pay for with cash or a check, and DNR, which is do not record, and this is for expenses that I don't need to record in my budget. So this is for things like my corporate card payment. Even though I pay out of my personal account, all of those charges were reimbursable on my card, so it's not affecting my personal budget at all. Below that, I have a corner sticker to mark if a charge comes out of my sinking fund, this one to mark if something's a business expense, and then at the bottom are my categories. So this year I'm tracking personal expenses, so this would be skincare, nails, things like that. Allowance, which is all of the fun non-necessities, so like shopping, games, etc. Food delivery and eating out. I spend quite a bit on Uber Eats and DoorDash, so I like to keep an eye on my food expenditures each month. Stationery, if you know, you know, it's so easy to get carried away here. Home, this is for like home decor items, so like plants, rugs, pillows, etc. And then last is miscellaneous, and this is for all of those things that don't have a category, and I mark this just in case there's something that I'm spending money on that might need its own category next year. I have my budget categories for each month, but these I pay extra close attention to since these are areas where I tend to overspend or those where I just want to have a closer eye on. So similar to my budget overview, these are also available as freebies in my resource library. I spent so many months trying to find an expense tracker that worked for me, and I just couldn't, so I decided to make my own. So here I have a column for the date, what you purchased, the category, the amount broken down by credits or debits, and then a column at the end to check off when you've logged that expense in your budget overview. Flipping over, the last section is my resources section, and this is where I log my passwords and account information, billing addresses, phone numbers, information on the credit bureau, student loan info, and all of that good stuff. This little vellum sheet is a custom sheet from AMW Planner on Etsy, and that's just layered over this sheet of camo paper that I got from Michaels. And then you have another one of those financial bundle covers that I'm repurposing. This all came with the bundle, but I am creating my own inserts for this section as well. I'm still playing around with the design, but I'll have those up as soon as I finalize it. The last thing in here is this top loading pocket. I'm not sure where I purchased this from. If I remember, I'll link it down below, but I essentially use this as a receipt holder, especially for receipts where I need to break things out. So for example, here I purchased pillows for my mom and then some stuff for me. On my expense tracker, I'll break this out between gift and home decor, so I'll leave it here until I get ready to do so I don't forget, and so I'll have an accurate amount in each category. Then at the end of the month, when I'm recording my budget, I'll have all the detail that I need. In the back, I just have a few of the stickers that I use. These dot stickers are from Nicole Hutch Designs. Unfortunately, her shop has closed down. These are from Daisy Papers, and the tiny little flags are from Rosie Papetree. This is just another journaling card. And then last, I just have my all-time favorite pen, the Uniball 1F gel pen in a 0.38 millimeter tip. So that's the setup of my new budget planner. I'm really happy with the setup. I think having a dedicated budget agenda will just make it easier to have all of my financial items in one place without having to cherry pick what I include and what I don't. I have the space now to include everything. It also frees up precious real estate in my main agenda so I can fit a full year's worth of weeklies and expand my content section, which are the two main priorities for my everyday carry. The last thing I wanted to touch on is a few tools and strategies that I use to make sure that I'm hitting my budgeting goals each month. So the first I mentioned a little bit earlier, and that's highlighting the areas where you tend to overspend. So this takes it one step further than having just your budget. So for example, looking back at my expense tracker, I know that I tend to order food delivery a lot. I have it listed as a budget category, but since I frequently exceed my budget in that group, I listed it as a highlighted category on my tracker. Once I start to see a lot of green, then I know that I'm likely getting close to my goal and I need to cut back. Since I'm in my expense tracker every day, I'm seeing it constantly, so it's always at the forefront of my mind. The second tip is to revisit your fixed expenses. I talk a lot about adjusting your variable expenses when you're looking to save money or shift where your money is going each month if you have to add a new bill or something. But another idea that can make a big difference is looking at removing a fixed expense. Your fixed expenses are the things that you have to pay no matter what each month. They usually have a set amount and is a staple in your everyday routine. So think rent or mortgage, internet, car insurance, cell phones, student loan payments, and things like that. There may be things under there that you've been paying forever that you really don't need, or maybe there's a cheaper option for. Since these are coming out of your account each month like clockwork, if you're able to find one or two to eliminate or cut in half, you can end up saving a good bit of money. The third has been the most helpful for me, and that's using a budgeting app. Now, I currently don't have one at the moment. I was a loyal Mint user, and when it went away, I haven't found a free option that I like enough. I'm still on the hunt for one, but it's looking like I may have to pay for one that has all the features that I want. If you guys have any that you use and that you like, please let me know in the comments. But the great thing about these apps is that it lets you see trends in your spending. So while your planner gives you the detail and the day-to-day tracking and overview of your expenses, these apps can compare your spending habits between months or years, and it's a great way to see how your spending changes over time, where you've improved, and it gives you an easy way to identify bad habits before they negatively impact your financial goals. The fourth strategy is to use a cash envelope system. So this is a tried and true method that people have been using for decades, and you can totally see why. You put the amount that you want to spend in each envelope, and once the envelope is empty, you can't spend any more for that month. If you're like me and you don't use cash, you can do the same thing with budget cards like these here, or use digital envelopes on your phone or your computer. Cube and Envy are two pretty popular envelope budgeting apps and could be a great choice for those who prefer more of a countdown system rather than manually tracking your expenses. The fifth strategy is mainly for those who primarily shop online, and that's cart holding. A lot of shops like Etsy and Amazon make it so easy to buy things that when you see something that you want, you add it to your cart and press buy. Cart holding is where you put that item in your cart, wait a designated amount of time, and then revisit your cart after that time has passed. From there, you break down your cart into wants and needs, and then out of your needs category, you purchase all but one thing, and in your wants category, you only purchase one thing. The great thing about this method is a lot of times after 24 hours or so, you end up rethinking your wants or realizing that you didn't want it that much anyway. It's a good way to curb unnecessary spending, and it can help you cut back on random purchases that you really don't have space for. Similar to the fifth strategy is the sixth tip, which is using the 30-day rule for all of your non-essential purchases. It steps cart holding up a notch and is the best way to help with impulse buys. You know, those things that you see advertised on BuzzFeed or something and you run and you put it in your cart. Waiting 30 days will oftentimes, again, be just the thing that makes you realize that you don't need it at all. The seventh tip is to use your cashback credit cards for large purchases to get reward points and rewards cash. The caveat to this is to only use this tip if you pay off your balance each month. Otherwise, you're going to be paying a lot more money with interest. A lot of cards will have like a 3% or 5% cash back on certain purchases. If you use that card for all of your expenses, then the cash that you get back can add up really quickly. What I like to do is let my rewards cash build up throughout the year, and then I'll use that amount at the end of the year to buy Christmas presents and other little gifts. Just remember, it's incredibly important that whatever card you do this on, you don't carry a balance. If so, then you're going to end up paying these companies so much money in interest, which is just a waste. Another great thing about a lot of these cards is they'll offer different rewards and benefits depending on the card you have. A lot of them have travel perks and things that can really come in handy, so make sure to look at the benefits if you're shopping for a credit card. The other thing is having credit cards can boost your credit as long as you're using it correctly, and it can lead to better rates and options when it comes to making larger purchases that can, in the long run, really impact your financial situation, so it's definitely a good tool to have. The last tip is to create sinking funds if you haven't done so already, and this will take the burden out of paying for unexpected expenses and make larger purchases or recurring payments easier to manage. I'm not going to dive too deep into sinking funds since I do so in my budget routine video, but essentially they're a fund that you can use to put money aside for a specific purpose or an unexpected expense. You can use them to plan for a home, car maintenance, medical expenses, annual dues. You can use it to put money away for college or a vacation, and so much more. These are a list of mine, but again, I'll link the detailed video breaking down sinking funds and my budgeting process in the description. So those are just a few tips that I've used to help me stay on track financially. If you have any specific questions or anything, feel free to DM me or email me and I'll be happy to help however I can. And that's it, you guys. If you found this video helpful and you want to see more planning and organizational content, please hit that like button and subscribe. It helps my channel out a lot. Also, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram for more planner tips and inspo, sending positive vibes your way. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of your day.